Welcome to the Senate Minute. I'm your host, Jesse Cordray. New to the Senate Minute is a short audio brief that includes commentary from members of the Senate Majority Caucus. In this edition of the Senate Minute, listeners will hear from Senator Erin Houchin. Senator Houchin represents Senate District 47, which includes all of Washington, Orange, Harrison, Crawford, Perry County, and eastern Du Bois County. Senator Houchin, along with Senator Ed Charbonneau, authored Senate Bill 141 this session, which would address issues surrounding office-based opioid treatment providers. If enacted, Senate Bill 141 would place modest regulations on office-based opioid treatment centers. SB 141 passed the Senate recently with bipartisan support, 42 yeas to 6 nays. It has been sent to the House of Representatives for further consideration. Senator Houchin, it is my understanding that you have experience working with opioid-related addictions, seeing it firsthand as an employee of the Department of Child Services. How did your previous experience lead you to drafting Senate Bill 141?
I worked in child welfare, and so certainly the drug epidemic is something that I have seen for many years as a former caseworker for the Department of Child Services. I also happen to be married to a prosecuting attorney who works a lot in the criminal law, and my community has been hit particularly hard by the opioid epidemic, not just opioids, but other drugs too. And we have seen an emergence of different types of opioid treatment. And Senate Bill 141 came to me from some concerned communities that saw a lot of these types of clinics, they're typically called Suboxone clinics, that popped up in local communities. Suboxone clinics operate currently in the state of Indiana without very many, or if any, regulations at all. So when this issue first popped up, there were around 400 Suboxone clinics compared to the 19 or so methadone clinics that we had at that time. I started investigating how they are regulated and found that they're really not regulated at all.
Why SB 141? What will SB 141 do to address the opioid epidemic in Indiana?
It became clear to me that A, we're spending a lot of money on this one product without any guardrails or guidelines for these entities to follow. There's no way for us to tell good from bad. There's no way for the public to tell good from bad. There are certain markers of treatment that we want to see these types of providers offering, and under the current framework, there was no requirement that they provided any kind of treatment at all besides handing out these drugs. And they are subsequently trafficked in communities, resold, and they are trafficked into local jails. If the clinics are not handling this responsibly, if they're just taking Medicaid dollars and passing out this drug, that's not helpful to this solving this epidemic. So I filed a bill to place modest regulations on those clinics. It turned into a summer study committee last session, but this session it turned into Senate Bill 141. So it is something that I've been working on for a couple of years. By the time this bill was heard in committee, there are now 650 OBOTs, or office-based opioid treatment programs in Indiana, again compared to the 27 limit number of methadone clinics by state law. I filed the bill so that communities that have these programs and very vulnerable addicts will be able to tell good treatment from bad. This is not really an effort at limiting treatment as much as it is ensuring quality treatment for very vulnerable people.
What does this bill mean to families who have been touched by the opioid epidemic?
I think it means a couple of things. Firstly, for families who may have an addict or may have been touched by addiction or an addiction problem, this bill will ensure that we're not allowing treatment providers to not really help people. And if you have a family member that with an addiction problem, particularly an opioid addiction, you want to make sure if they're seeking treatment that that treatment is quality, that they follow certain guidelines, that they're required to offer things like counseling and not just pass out Suboxone as a replacement, that they're treating patients holistically. So that's, I think, first and foremost why people would care that we're doing something like this.
But if someone hasn't been affected by the opioid epidemic, what is your message to them? Why should this bill matter?
Our tax dollars are going for this treatment. Medicaid dollars are paying for this treatment. And right now there are no guardrails. There is no way for the state to tell good from bad. And we do not want state tax dollars going toward clinics such as these if they're acting irresponsibly.
The bill passed the Senate with bipartisan support and will be considered by the House of Representatives next. How do you feel personally, having moved SB 141 this far in the legislative process?
I was very grateful for Governor Holcomb and his leadership and support of Senate Bill 141 and the stakeholders really that are operating in this space. The good actors have really come to the table and formulated something that I think is a responsible approach to make sure that we're not limiting opportunities for treatment, but we are increasing the likelihood that our tax dollars and vulnerable addicts are accessing quality treatment that will help to get us over this opioid epidemic as best we can.
Thank you, Senator Houchin. To learn more about SB 141, go online to iga.in.gov. Click the Legislation tab, and you'll find it under the Bills tab. Thank you for listening. You can subscribe to the Senate Minute on your podcast app or listen at IndianaSenateRepublicans.com. Click on the podcast button and listen in. You may also find the Senate Minute on social media when you follow Senate Republicans on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at INSenateRepublicans or at INSenateGOP. Senator Charbonneau joins us next week on the Senate Minute to discuss his bill on Indiana's water supply. Join our discussion and learn what this bill can mean for you. I'm your host, Jesse Cordray. Have a great week.